You're listening to The Pop by Dr. Shané, The Pursuit of Peace. And I'm your host, Dr. Shané Petit of SP Consulting Group, where our mission is bringing your vision to life. Hello, hello, hello. It is 2021, and I am here to talk about setting the record straight. Now, it has been a while since I've done a podcast, and I know you guys miss me. No, but I've missed you guys, truly. And we're going to be talking about how we've been doing. 2020 was crazy, right? We all know that. We keep saying it. I'm actually exhausted from saying it so much. Exhausted from hearing about it so much. But guess what? Between stress, just feelings of overwhelm, numbness, body aches, everything. We have been living in a state of survival, have we not? I mean, whether you know it or not, but when you are consistently jumping or concerned about how close you are to someone, and if your mask accidentally slid and you hear in the news or people will tell you, well, don't put it up under your chin because if you put it then back over your nose, then you may get infected. Truly and really, what in the world is going on? We are here in a new year. We're still definitely on a pursuit of peace. And how do we get there? We have to get there by showing up intentionally in the very skin that we are in as humans and just being. And in our being and in our existence, we're in a space of peace. How do we get there though? There is so much that puts us into a panic, so much that puts us in a place of fear and self-inflicted limitations of I can't go here, I can't go there. I mean, I have literally been in quarantine for so long that sometimes I have to remember that I need to get out the house. Is that not crazy making? We have to be intentional about living. We have to be unapologetic about living and existing so that we can stay sane, so that we can stay focused. But one thing that I want to point out, you all, is that this year, we are going to spend this year on a journey purposely seeking out what it means to not only live on purpose, but to exist in this space of going after exactly what it is that we have been thinking about, dreaming about, trying to do, your vision boards about. Everything needs to be on purpose. I was literally talking to a client who said they had had a vision board up on top of their computer for 2 years. 2 years, you guys. How crazy is that? Well, it's actually something that we've been doing for a long time, and we're starting to notice that our vision boards or our affirmations have become just as monotonous, just as meaningless as the ceremony, if you will, of brushing your teeth. It's just something you do every day, but where is the impact? Where is the impact? For those that are out there pushing beyond the envelope, some of you may be looking at them like they're crazy. Like, chill out. It's a pandemic. Calm down. Just be. And while that may help some people, there are those of us who are really striving to make it all make sense. I want you guys to come with me on this year of where we are literally not only pursuing peace, but we are pursuing our purpose. We're living on purpose. We're setting the record straight that 2020 had no bearings on what it is that we were purposed to do. But how do we do that? How do we do that when we don't even realize the cycles that we're in? A lot of times people don't realize that when it comes down to the fear response and the survival instinct, we are no longer able to think as strategically as we thought. Why is that? Well, I find myself sharing with people over and over again how the brain works when you're in a fear response or in survival mode. Well, let me quickly tell you, and I have mentioned pieces of this before last year, but I'll say it again just in case there's those of you on here that haven't listened to the prior podcast and want to know where I'm coming from with this. When you're stressed out, your prefrontal cortex is literally rushing all of its blood and resources to the amygdala. The amygdala is where your body is fueled to then act in self-preservation mode, whether that is to fight, whether it's to run and leave, or you end up freezing. So the longer that you're in that survival mode, which at least all of us have been since the beginning of 2020, then you are then stuck in a space where your new normal is to self-protect, leaving the space of your brain that would do all of the activities surrounding, surrounding the higher level thinking, the strategy, the planning, the actual SMART goals, and the task, like every word that you want to put onto it, whether it's your goals, whether it's your targets, whatever it is, you have less fuel. So what are we doing? Are we sleeping better? Are we eating better? Or have we said, oh, well, and just threw in the towel and said, we're in a pandemic? Where are we? Let's set the record straight. Where are you? Where were you going before this pandemic? And where are you being called to be? Now, depending on what work environment you're in, you may again be in survival mode even at work. I know some of us in the healthcare field, we are being pulled in different directions as several people begin to take an early retirement. Several people are saying, you know what, I just decided to work from home indefinitely. And there is a need for people to still be available for those that are sick, for those that are getting COVID, those that are recovering from COVID, those that are needing help. But if you were to sit back and really look at even the as they call it, the civil unrest or the civil awakening, the race relations, whatever term you want to put to it, we have a need for people to show up in who they were meant to be, who they were created to be, who they know they are, so that we can have everybody in place doing their part, performing at the level in which they were created to perform. There was a book called Being the Me That I Was Meant to Be. One day I'll add that on in the chat box so that you guys can go back to it, or the details of the videos, and let you guys know where that is. But ultimately, my point is, how can you still show up to be who you were meant to be regardless of what happens? Because unfortunately, some people really put their hope in time. And this is what I mean by that. A lot of times we hear the saying, time changes all, time heals all. Well, guess what? Between the clock hitting 11:59 and 60 seconds later turning into 12 midnight, January 1st, 2021, guess what changed? Time. And that is all. Every fear that you had before, every concern, every anxiety, every stress remained. But what are you going to do about it? Let's have you set the record straight and tell yourself. You don't have to tell us. But let's set the record straight with ourselves, within ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. How can we really get into the space of making sure that regardless of what happens around us, that we stay true to who we are, because someone out there is waiting on you and what it is that you have to offer. I've been coaching more people lately. And I've been coaching more people lately because I realized the need has become like exacerbated. It's like, oh my goodness, not only are there a lot of coaches out there, but my goodness, people are coming out of the woodwork really in need of supports. But again, how do you get in a place where you are able to rise out of the ashes of 2020 dust free? How can you get into a place where you feel so much more motivated? When it's all said and done, there are times where we are required to then motivate ourselves based on what we know within our hearts, in our minds, in our souls, in our spirits, what it is that we were put on this earth to do. There's this song that I've been listening to actually quite frequently and recently called Moving On, or it's Moving. Moving On by Jonathan McReynolds. There's a gospel artist, and Mali Music, like contemporary gospel music. And you guys can look it up. But I keep listening to that. And first, it helped me out of a situation of, raising my threshold, really doing the work so that I can really come to this space of sharing with you guys some good news as we're on this pursuit of peace. And now, when I hear it, I ask myself, how many people are still stuck at 11:59, December 31st, 2020? Who's still there? Who is still in this space of thinking and waiting on something else to transpire, something else to get them inspired and help them on their way to transformation? Well, for one, what have you done to seek it out? Or are you still waiting? Are you still waiting on something else to click for you to realize that, I really can speak into existence what it is that I don't see, because I know within my heart of hearts that it's time to make a change. No more waiting on a New Year's resolution. There's not actually that many people that have made resolutions, but there are people that have really just swapped the word for what are your intentions. But my thing is this: regardless of how you shape it, how can you take the next step forward? How can you seek out life as you should know it? Get away from these thoughts that says, oh, you can't, you're not enough, you need more, you need this, you need that. There are so many people thriving and living on purpose who have already shared their stories, their testimonies of how they may have dropped out. They may have had the lowest GPA. They were considered not the sharpest crayon in the box, whatever it is, but they've gone on, stepped into purpose, and moved forward. What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying that's keeping you from yourself? How much are you attempting to busy yourself with Netflix, news, social media, all the 50 million platforms, we are not going to even talk about Clubhouse. How can we get you into a place that you live on purpose without apologies, without explanation, only with faith and perseverance? How can we do that? And why do I say faith and perseverance? Let me say this. First of all, I didn't say consistency, because the reality is that we are human and we are having a lot of stressors and distractions. That's what I'm going to call it. We have had a lot of distractions, and I'm not even going to name it. We need to get into the place where we shake ourselves off, set the record straight in our own mind, that 2021 is going to be the year where, regardless of what happens, we refuse to be distracted from our purpose, from the impact that we need to make. Because just as there's someone waiting to help you go the long haul in that journey to fulfilling your purpose and bringing that vision to life, someone is also waiting on you to say what it is that you were meant to say at the very moment, in the very place, in the very atmosphere that you say it in, that you act on your purpose. But you can't do that when you're allowing stress, burnout, the overwhelm of all of these many distractions. We can't do that in that state, in survival mode. We need to splash, theoretically, and maybe even actually, some cold water on our face so that we can get the idea stuck into our mind that the only way through peace, the only way to standing up in our truth is forward. And when you are pushing, that despite the odds, despite the distractions, not only are you actively showing tenacity, but you're persevering. Regardless of it all, you are pushing forward. You may stop every now and then, but you get yourself up and you move forward. What needs to happen for that flame to be ignited? Well, it's faith. We are to have faith by trusting and believing in things that we haven't seen, and knowing that the work that we do is evidence of what's to come. Whether it's building that business, go ahead, get started. As I like to say, go ahead to Google Academy and find out what school or certification you need to do the things that you want to do. Do not wait. Time is not on our side. It comes and it goes just as much as it comes and it goes, if you know what I mean. There is nothing going to change with time moving. The only thing that changes with time is what you do throughout that time. What you do every day, what you do in every moment. If you spend your days, if you spend your minutes, your hours, your seconds, your minutes, your nanoseconds on everything foolishness, that's what you're going to yield. Foolishness. In another year, whether it's 2021 or 2030, you're going to continue to build up on stress, continue yourself down the rabbit hole, and find yourself in a place where peace is not your friend and stress has taken residence. If that's already you, who knows? There is still hope, because guess what? You're still breathing. There's still hope. There's always hope. And hope isn't just about a feeling. Some of you are already right now dealing with depression. It's not about a feeling. It's about a mindset. What are you going to allow your mind to tell you? Like I said earlier, are you self-inflicting your own limitations? Think about that. Who do you have control over? What do you have control over? You stand in the middle of both. That's it. All the concerns of everything that's going on in the world, unless you can do something about it, doing your part, go out and advocate. See how your purpose can be intertwined with the platform of enacting or supporting an existing change in the world. How can you help support the people that are the change agents? How can you be the technology or the program or the service that helps and supports the mission? There's so much out there, you all. Oh my goodness, there's so much out there. And I've been taking some time to really see where we're going with this pursuit of peace, when it seems like the storm has not only stayed, but continued to brew. Well, here we are in downtown Los Angeles, where a lot of things happen. But what are you going to do where you are in that moment? Who knows? Take care of yourselves. How are you going to live out on purpose if you're, eating everything under the sun at any old time of the day and doing very little movement? For folks like me, we're sitting at a desk, doing Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting. And when do you take a moment to stand up? When do you implement breaks in your day? Even if it's 10 minutes, disconnect before the next meeting, the next appointment, the next. What are you going to do on purpose to support your self-care? To take care of yourself, not just for yourself, but listen to this, and I'm sure you've heard it, but I'm definitely going to say it again. When are you going to get in the place that your well-being is for a reason? You were put on this earth for a reason. How can you allow your efforts of self-care to then manifest in the longevity and the sustainability of the purpose that you have on your life? Stay persistent. Stay faithful. Live out on purpose and do it unapologetically. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. You take some time with yourself. Sit down. Talk to God. Get in the Bible. Pray. Whatever you need to do. Sit there in silence and just wait for an answer. Start doing things. Let me do some research. Let's see what starts to catch my eye. Let me see when something starts to get me excited. Then you might be, in that game, of hot and cold, where it's like you're getting hotter, investigate, dig in. Really set the record straight that you were meant to be here. This year didn't take quite the turn once it hit, 12 o'clock on the dot that maybe you thought it would. Maybe you gained some hope. Well, use it. For 2021, do better because you are better. Not because the circumstances allow or disallow it. Create your space. Whatever it is. I'm here this year to really be on the rampage. For living my purpose out on any platform that will allow me. Because when it's all said and done, I feel the urgency to set the record straight. Stress, burnout, distractions of any level is wasted time for me. And I want you to feel just as uneasy when people, situations, gossip, even like I said, that storyline in your head begins to take too much time, too much energy. Focus on your purpose. And then that's where the energy, that's where the insight, that's where the creativity is going to go. You focus on stress, burnout, overwhelm, surviving to the next day, then that's where the energy is going to go. And a lot of times you're still standing still. So this has been the pod. It's 2021. We have a new feeling here, and I'm ready, and we will be meeting every other week for each month. Before I was doing it once a week. But I want you guys to stay tuned. You have been listening to The Pop. This is your host, Dr. Shané of SP Consulting Group. And if you need help finding that purpose, if you need help venting and getting back on track with your goals and your dreams and your purpose, give me a holler. You can reach me on the Get Connected page of my website, and that's www.officialspconsultinggroup.com. Again, that's www.officialspconsultinggroup.com. You guys take care, be safe, and live on purpose.